can put it on the board. Yes! He could go all the way. 95-yard ready to...
Okay, welcome back to the Sports Circus, Segment 3. This segment is brought to you by the American Business Trust Company, specializing in startup capital, consulting, sales and marketing, corporate strategy, you name it, they do it. Give them a call at 657-600-1876 if you want to grow your business from just an idea all the way to, wow, this company's making money. Give them a call, 657-600-1876, or visit them at abtrustco.com. Okay. So, Alicia Thompson, we were discussing some very interesting pieces of the puzzle here laid out by the Federal Trade Commission and how it affects the NBA and the WNBA. And you're going to like this because as we go on, we've already talked about the financial differences between the average players and even the league minimum. Mind you, the league minimum in the NBA is about $1.3 million. I think the league minimum in the WNBA is about $34,000. Something to the effect. I don't know. It's some ridiculous number. It doesn't even make sense. So, I have a problem with this. I have a real problem with the NBA and the way that they're handling this because you see, you're going to like this, Alicia. 8 teams in the WNBA are associated directly with the NBA and called sister teams. Now, you know about this. You're going to love this. Okay, and those teams, they're the same market, the same sister teams, and those are Indiana, the Indiana Pacers and the Fever, right? The Lakers and the Sparks, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Lynx, the New York Knicks and Liberty, which you played for, right?
Yep.
Phoenix Suns and Mercury, Atlanta Hawks and Dream, San Antonio Spurs and Stars, and Washington Wizards and Mystic. So, I make this argument about inequality in pay. And here's where the value lies. The NBA is a privately held company, just like the WNBA. If they have sister teams, same ownership, except for, I think there's 1 or 2 other teams, like the Dream and Sparks are actually separately owned. But the teams that are actually owned by the same organization, well, guess what? Go back to the Equal Pay Act of 1963. Again, I'll remind you, the Equal Pay Act of 1963 protects men and women from sex-based wage discrimination in payment of wages or benefits who perform substantially equal work in the same establishment. So what that tells me, Alicia, is that you should have been paid equal to what at least the base salary of the New York Knicks players were when you came into the league, right, when you played for the Liberty. You should have been paid at least the same base number. And the same base number is $1 million, back then.
Right.
And I don't know what you were paid, but I guarantee you, $1 million, right? So the problem is, right. So the problem is they violated, the NBA allowed the New York Knicks, so under their tier, you have tiers. You have the NBA, then you have franchises below it, right? I don't know what that is. That's interesting. So you have the NBA and you have tiers below it, which are franchises, correct? Play along.
Yes.
Okay. Now the franchises fall under the rule of the parent or the NBA. You must abide by these rules as a franchise, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So therefore, the NBA is in violation of the Equal Pay Act from the Federal Trade Commission. I think that's a real problem, and a lot of players from the WNBA are certainly going to want to hear about this because I don't know if it's been buried by a bunch of rhetoric and all this other BS, but we're exposing it on the Sports Circus because, number one, we have a WNBA champion with us every day that we're on, even Monday through Friday on 670 The Score in Las Vegas or KCAA, the NBC affiliate throughout Southern California. Alicia's with us every day as a co-host, a champion from the WNBA. Alicia was robbed out of equal pay when she came into the league in subsequent years, because even the same rule applies when you were with the Seattle Storm. They were affiliated with the Seattle Supersonics, and I guess then as the team moved, then there's a change of ownership. But let me ask you, Alicia, were the Sonics in town when you were playing?
The Sonics were in town. They were
Perfect.
there, and then also I played for the Indiana Fever, so that would
Right.
go for the time when I was with the Fever and the Pacers. Yeah.
Right. So you were robbed from 3 different teams, and the teams were allowed to rob you by the NBA because these were sister teams. And
Right.
according to the federal law, you have rights, and that's not right. How many of your teammates would love to hear about this?
Oh, yeah, a whole bunch of them, and they will hear about it because I'm going to be telling them about it. I think that we should all, definitely do something. This isn't something that's new to us as players, but something's got to be done.
Well, that screams class action lawsuit. Absolutely screams
definitely.
it. How many players are in the WNBA?
Oh, well, we carry, say, 12 per team. You're looking at a couple of hundred, close to 300 players.
And how many players played on those teams where they had a sister team or a brother team, in your case?
A lot. Oh, yeah, a lot.
Right, so that applies to the majority of the women players out there. And how many
Absolutely.
were wronged in the multi-billion-dollar business of the NBA? How many only got this when they should have gotten this? You tell
Yeah.
me.
A lot. Oh yeah, we're coming with millions of dollars to be played out to the players for sure.
Absolutely. And so
Something's got to be done. Look, I'm standing up right now. This is why you have me on the show, because hey.
well, it's
we gotta
your
do
pretty
something.
smiles
We gotta
why
get
we
these
have you on the show.
players paid.
It's the big smiles why we have you on. You just happen to be a champion and a Hall of Famer. But look at the can of worms that's basically been hidden from the public and from the WNBA players. And the teams knew this. Every team owner knew this. They just didn't want to give you what you deserved. But according to the Equal Pay Act of 1963, that is under the Federal Trade Commission. Everybody, Google it. I found it on LexisNexis. I have a very small legal background, but my point is, find it on whatever means you will. Go to ftc.gov, G-O-V, and you'll find it. Look for it, read it. It's applicable today as it was in 1963. All those people have been screwed out of millions of dollars. I would love to see them get exactly what they're supposed to get, equal pay, because you're doing, it says here, equal pay in the same establishment, performing substantially basically the same acts. Correct or incorrect?
Same thing. It's the same thing. The only difference between an NBA game and a WNBA game is playing above the rim. And you have players now in the WNBA that are slam dunking the basketball. Everything is different. In fact, there's so many people that prefer watching the WNBA than they would an NBA game.
I'm one of them.
It's
I
more
can't stand
exciting.
the NBA. Yeah. I can't stand it. I want to see pure shooters. And this goes beyond that. Alicia, what this does is this opens it up to, as the players make more money, that means they get more visible with the shoe companies, the shoe deals, right? This kind of thing.
Right.
The apparel, everything that comes along with it. Now you're more visible because basically the WNBA has been bottled up since it basically came in existence. Now it needs to be opened up so the women can get the big endorsements, they get paid what they're worth, and everybody has some equality instead of the scales being tilted heavily in the NBA's favor. I don't think that's fair. We're going to finish up on that on the next segment. Like I said, this was going to take a long time. This is great material, folks. Make sure you tune into the next segment. We'll be right back at the Sports Circus.